Mirian Robinson, Michelle Obama's steadfast mother, dies at 86. Robinson, the mother of the former First Lady, died on Friday, May 31st, her family told NBC News in a statement. She was 86 years old. Following the news, Michelle shared a message on X, formerly Twitter, remembering her mother. "My mom Mirian Robinson was my rock, always there for whatever I needed," she wrote. "She was the same steady backstop for our entire family, and we are heartbroken to share she passed away today. She passed peacefully this morning, and right now, none of us are quite sure how exactly we'll move on without her," NBC's statement read. It added that the lifelong Chicago resident left her hometown with a healthy nudge when her daughter moved into the White House with former President Barack Obama after he won the 2008 election. "We needed her. The girls needed her. And she ended up being our rock through it all," the family said. She relished her role as a grandmother. And although she enforced whatever household rules we'd set for bedtime, watching TV, or eating candy, she made clear that she sided with her grandbabies in thinking that their parents were too darn strict. The statement, which was shared by Michelle and Barack, Michelle's brother Craig Robinson and his wife, Kelly, and Mirian Robinson's grandchildren, Avery, Leslie, Malia, Sasha, Austin and Aaron, continued, "There was and will be only one Mirian Robinson. In our sadness, we are lifted up by the extraordinary gift of her life. And we will spend the rest of ours trying to live up to her example." Barack, 62, also expressed his condolences on her passing in a separate statement. "There was and will be only one Mirian Robinson. In our sadness, we are lifted up by the extraordinary gift of her life. And we will spend the rest of ours trying to live up to her example," the former president wrote in a tweet. Michelle's father, Fraser Robinson, died in 1991. The author has often talked about her childhood and the lessons that both parents taught her. Speaking to Chicago's ABC7 in 2022, the Princeton University and Harvard Law School graduate said she came from humble beginnings, but that didn't stop her from knowing her worth. "We were poor. We lived in a small house, but what they gave us was a feeling of importance, a belief that our voices mattered at a very young age, a sense of understanding, a pushing through, resilience," she said. That same year, Michelle told NPR that even as a young child, her parents taught her responsibility, buying her and her brother alarm clocks at 5 years old and allowing them to walk to school on their own. "And what that does for a kid, when your parent trusts you, it encourages you. It tells you that if my mom thinks I can do this, that I must be capable," Michelle said. As a sister, aunt, cousin, neighbor, and friend to so many, she was beloved beyond words by countless others whose lives were improved by her presence, the statement from Barack and Michelle Obama, Craig and Kelly Robinson, and their children said in part. "She passed peacefully this morning, and right now, none of us are quite sure how exactly we'll move on without her," the statement said. Michelle Obama posted on social media, "My mom Mirian Robinson was my rock, always there for whatever I needed. She was the same steady backstop for our entire family, and we are heartbroken to share she passed away today. There was and will be only one Mirian Robinson. In our sadness, we are lifted up by the extraordinary gift of her life. And we will spend the rest of ours trying to live up to her example," Barack Obama wrote on X. Robinson lived with the Obamas during their time at the White House and was often spotted at events with the First Family, including handing out goodie bags to trick-or-treaters on Halloween. "We needed her. The girls needed her," the family's statement said of her move to Washington. "And she ended up being our rock through it all." A native of Chicago, where she returned after the Obamas left the White House, Robinson was married to Fraser Robinson, and the pair had 2 children, Michelle and Craig. Fraser Robinson died in 1991 after a long struggle with multiple sclerosis. Mirian Robinson was heavily involved in her kids' education, according to the statement. The family recalled Robinson as having taught her children to read at an early age, sitting together as they sounded out words on a page, giving them the strength and confidence to walk to school. They also highlighted her presence in a historic moment. On election night in 2008, when the news broke that Barack would soon shoulder the weight of the world, she was there, holding his hand, the statement read. David Axelrod, former Obama senior advisor, remembered Robinson as just a great lady. She was a South Sider through and through, Axelrod, a CNN senior political commentator, told CNN's Wolf Blitzer on The Situation Room on Friday, adding that during her time at the White House, she did not take to the whole celebrity lifestyle. Instead, Axelrod said, she would often slip out of the White House on her own and visit with friends. She really wasn't looking for attention. Years after the unveiling of the Obama's portraits at the Smithsonian's National Portrait Gallery in 2018, Michelle Obama recalled how impactful her mother's reaction had been when she took her to the museum after hours. It was quiet and I was watching my mom, Mirian Robinson, sit at the base of my portrait and look up at it with such a level of awe, she said when the portraits were temporarily moved to Chicago. And for me, watching her see me in that way meant the world to me, Michelle Obama said. The Chicago native moved into the White House after her son-in-law, former President Obama, won the presidency, holding his hand through election night in 2008. With a healthy nudge, she agreed to move to the White House with Michelle and Barack, the family said in its statement. We needed her. The girls needed her. And she ended up being our rock through it all. She passed peacefully this morning, and right now, none of us are quite sure how exactly we'll move on without her. The statement signed from Robinson's children, their spouses and grandchildren reads. The statement did not include the cause of death. What they're saying. My mom Mirian Robinson was my rock, always there for whatever I needed, Michelle Obama wrote on X. She was the same steady backstop for our entire family, and we are heartbroken to share she passed away today. Robinson became known to Americans as the country's first grandmother after her son-in-law, Barack Obama, won the 2008 presidential election. She was a fixture in the White House during his 8 years in office, though she kept a low profile. She attended holiday events, the occasional overseas trip and concerts in the East Room. But most often she was with her granddaughters, Sasha and Malia. Mirian Robinson moved to Washington, D.C., to help take care of her granddaughters in the White House. Carolyn Castor, AP File. Having lived in Chicago her entire life, Robinson agreed to move to Washington, D.C., in 2009 to live in the White House residence and help take care of her granddaughters, who were 7 and 10 years old at the time. I felt like this was going to be a very hard life for both of them, she later said in a CBS interview, referring to her daughter and son-in-law. And I was worried about their safety, and I was worried about my grandkids. That's what got me to move to D.C. In their statement Friday, Robinson's family members said she agreed to leave Chicago with a healthy nudge. We needed her. The girls needed her. And she ended up being our rock through it all, they said. She relished her role as a grandmother. And although she enforced whatever household rules we'd set for bedtime, watching TV, or eating candy, she made clear that she sided with her grandbabies in thinking that their parents were too darn strict, they added. Robinson was born in Chicago in 1937 and grew up in the city's South Side, where she raised her daughter and son, Craig Robinson. She was married to Fraser Robinson, who died in 1991 from multiple sclerosis. The former president once called his mother-in-law, the least pretentious person I know. Indeed, Robinson said in the CBS interview that it was a huge adjustment, being waited on by White House resident staff, whom she said she convinced to let her do her own laundry. Rather than hobnobbing with Oscar winners or Nobel laureates, she preferred spending her time upstairs with a TV tray, in the room outside her bedroom with big windows that looked out at the Washington Monument, the family said in its statement Friday. The only guest she made a point of asking to meet was the Pope. The former president credited Robinson with keeping his daughters grounded while they grew up in the White House. She's down to earth and she doesn't understand all the fuss, he said in an interview on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert. Michelle Obama was deeply close to her mother. It was Robinson who narrated the biographical video introducing her daughter at the Democratic National Convention in 2008. And after leaving the White House, Robinson said, "My saying is when I grow up, I would like to be like Michelle Obama." Just a few weeks ago, Michelle Obama paid tribute to her mother on Mother's Day by announcing that an exhibit at the Obama Presidential Center Museum in Chicago will be named after her. In so many ways she fostered in me a deep sense of confidence in who I was and who I could be by teaching me how to think for myself, how to use my own voice, and how to understand my own worth, the former First Lady said in a video announcement. I simply wouldn't be who I am today without my mom. The family statement released Friday said, "There was and will be only one Mirian Robinson," adding, "In our sadness, we are lifted up by the extraordinary gift of her life. And we will spend the rest of ours trying to live up to her example." Kelly O'Donnell. Kelly O'Donnell is senior White House correspondent for NBC News. Carol E. Lee. Carol E. Lee is the Washington managing editor.
As you leave the page, don't forget to hit the like bell and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so as yet. Thank you for watching.